but the way he was holding it looked like he was holding a gun or a weapon or something. I worked at a bank for 5 years too. So like I've seen some sketchy things, and this set off all my radars. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Garage16 podcast. I'm sitting here with Rick Inacio. He is the owner of Garage16, and I am, I guess, your co-host for this podcast. The goal of this podcast is to bring in really cool people, have really great conversations, and bring the car community together in a very special way where we can just talk about things openly. For today's episode, we are going to get into how Garage16 became.
I'm going to do my best trying to, answer any questions you got. So let's get this going and see how it turns out.
We're going to start off with probably one of the most important questions. How did Garage16 start?
About 20 somewhat years ago, I was working for a car dealership at a parts department, and we had this aftermarket catalog where I would have taken it with me, meet up with some friends, and they would go through this catalog, order some parts through me, and it was kind of like an everyday thing. And, from there, we just started ordering parts through the dealership, not through myself. So I decided to open up my own business, my own name, still working at this dealership with no storefront or anything. I was getting accounts with a few warehouses. And from there, I just kept on going, and it was getting a little bit hard because the dealership didn't want me to bring in aftermarket parts to the dealership.
So I have a question. I'm going to cut you off there. Were you bringing in aftermarket parts to this dealership, then selling it through the dealership?
Correct. I was selling it through the dealership.
Okay.
Name, but not...
But was it under like your name? Like, hey, you went to this dealership. I'm looking for Garage16. I want to buy this?
No. So it was under just the dealer name, under my name, just, an employee purchase, and whatever price I paid, I would mark it up a little bit through that.
Was it a big jump to go from a full-time job going to starting your own business? Were you like worried you couldn't pay bills? And it's a big thing.
So at the time I was kind of getting minimum wage, same payroll for a few years, and then I decided one time to ask my boss for a raise. It just kept on going, days and weeks, didn't hear back. And they finally came through, and they gave me a raise of about $200 a year. So I opened up my first shop on Dufferin Street, Dufferin and Rogers. Those who went there, you guys are the original OGs. We even had a barbecue there. I had parking for one car. Most of the time, it was already taken up by the neighbors. So yeah, it was about 300 square feet, probably about $1,000 worth of inventory, if it was that. From there, I got a message from a friend. She sent me a picture of a place nearby. It was on Jane Street. They had a for rent sign. I didn't think twice. I went ahead, I got it, and it was about 1,000 square feet, maybe a little bit less.
How long were you at Jane for?
I was on Jane for maybe 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and I remember this on a lease for about 3 years. But halfway through that, I decided to go bigger, and there was a place here on Mississauga, where I'm located now in Mississauga. Units 1 and 2 came here. It was good, made a deal. And so here am I today. I started from Unit 1 and 2, then I moved to Units 1, 2, and 4, then took over pretty much the whole block.
So you have a bit of an interesting name, I would say. How did you come up with the name Garage16? Like, what made you choose 16? We all have a bunch of shops that are called Garage XYZ, but like, what was the 16 from?
I remember, filling out these business papers, the address, the name, all that kind of business information that you have to put in. And the last thing I had to fill out was the business name. I couldn't, I was running through my head so many names. I just couldn't decide the name. And so how I started was I had some parts at my parents' house, which the house was number 16, and they had a garage where they kind of made it into a room, and I had my office there. So I kind of garage, and then the address was 16. So kind of till today, that's how I got the name. But a lot of people still ask me why Garage16 if your address is 76.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change it now.
Per location. I think we've branded the name for long enough where like you can associate Garage16 with the shop and all that. And you've made a jump into like a full-time business by yourself. Was any of your family or your dad or your mom someone who owned their own businesses that made you have the confidence into doing it?
So no, they didn't. My parents are still working full time. I did have a lot of support, friends, wife. Having the best customers is what brings me here today, and what I have here today.
So pretty much you started from nothing. Correct. You knew nothing about starting a business.
Nothing at all.
And you grew this from a small little 1,000 square foot shop to this giant unit.
Yeah, I barely passed high school. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to university. I didn't do any business classes or anything like that.
You didn't work at that dealership. Do you think you'd be doing this today?
I don't think so, no. Before that, I was working at Canadian Tire. I mean, I was still working the automotive section, but yeah, I don't think if it was for that dealership, I wouldn't be here today.
Ran a shop for how many years now?
I'm going to say about 23.
So 23 years.
Yeah.
And in the 23-year span, I think you've built 2 cars. You need a little bit of credibility to some of the people out there. They think you're just a shop owner that doesn't know much. Some people probably have that stigma behind it. But didn't you not have a drag car at one point?
When I started up my business, I did have my parents' car, which was a 94 Hyundai Elantra.
No way.
Yeah, the motor blew. I was driving up north with no oil. Motor blew.
Yeah.
Took it to a mechanic. Found out that the 4G63 engine fits in there.
Wow.
And so from there we took it to Magnus, turboed it, did all that kind of stuff. We had we did have a drag car, and then just kind of
How much power did that, because that kind of car that you built at the time was probably big. Not a lot of people were doing that swap.
Yeah.
So how much power were you pushing at the time?
So at that time, it was around the 800 horsepower range.
Damn.
In a Hyundai Elantra,
And they're pretty light overall.
they were pretty light. It was a 4-door sedan, but the only thing is finding coilovers or anything besides engine stuff for the car was pretty hard.
Because the car you chose, or your parents' car, wasn't a car most people modified, let alone threw a 800 horsepower beast of a motor into it. Did you ever get a good time off that car?
I did not. Fortunately, throttle bodies kept breaking. The way it was installed, it was angled, wasn't angled in the right way, so it kept on snapping cables. And I just gave up on that.
So you went from a 800 horsepower drag car to a -8 probably stance car. What made you do the switch?
I feel like with drag racing, it was taking up a lot of time on weekends, renting trailers, renting vans, trailing it to the track, breaking it, kind of, doing it every weekend, versus something on the street where you can enjoy it every day.
At least you can say you did both. You did the drag scene, you tried it, and you just figured out that wasn't your thing. You like it, but you like it from afar, right? Like, we like supporting drag racers and everything they do, as you can see, but to continue building one, it wasn't your thing. But you think we should eventually build another car? We should leave this up to the viewers.
I have, what are you viewers saying?
You guys got to comment down below. Let's convince him to build another shop car. We have some good hands here. We got some great minds, and we can make something really, really cool happen. You guys got to comment down below and keep commenting, because until you guys continue to persuade him. I've tried my best. Everyone here at Garage16 has tried their best. You guys have to do it. And if maybe you do it one day, will you do it?
I mean, if the pressure's there and everybody wants to see something, maybe
we can do it.
Maybe you see me next year at the track or something.
Ooh, so you guys know. Comment down below. I've tried my best. I've been here 5 years. Every year, every day, every week, every month, we talk about car builds and all that. But we all have families and stuff. We're getting a little older, but we can still make time to build a car. We've talked about how you started. We've talked about some of the cars you built. But now let's talk about the future. What do you think are some of the things that Garage16 is going to be part of, or creating, or doing to be, part of this car community? Because I feel like you've established yourself in the car community, at least in this GTA. And one thing I think is really important is giving back and, participating and being part of the community. Do you have any ideas of what may come in the future?
Nobody knows what the future holds, but we're always trying to bring in new products, new items, always, changing. Sure, if you've been here a few times, we always kind of like to change displays, cabinets, all that kind of stuff. If there's a new drag racing series We like to be part of it. If there's any car shows, new car shows, we'd like to be part of it. We always like to have our face out there, our name out there.
This is the first time you're watching us. We're based out here in Canada. Do you think we should start making our way to the States and showing them what Garage 16 is all about?
It's funny you ask. We do get a lot of customers here coming in from the US, and as soon as they come in through the door, seeing all these products, seeing the size of the showroom versus what they have down in the US. There's a lot of people down in the US. They always come in here saying they haven't seen any shops like this. So maybe in the future, bring Garage 16 down to the US.
That'd be dope. Go to a couple car shows, display what we got, at least a little bit of what we got, because we can only put so much into a tent, obviously, and into a trailer. Correct. But I think, shaking hands, seeing faces. Like, we went to Montreal and we saw a few of our good customers down there, and we've always talked over the phone, but like to see the person, the people in person, I think makes a huge difference. And like you said, without our amazing customers, we wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast with this guy, and it's amazing what, I'm going to circle back to a guy working at a dealership, starting to sell parts on the side, to creating this amazing thing. If you could build any car right now, starting from scratch, what car would it be? And why?
I gotta say, as much as we're, an import shop and stuff, I would have to say a Dodge Viper.
Hey,
the old school Dodge Vipers.
That is something I would never expect coming out of you, especially being such a JDM-oriented shop. This is another good thing. Like, we're able to get stuff for like Dodge Vipers and maybe 5.0 Mustangs and all that. We may not have it in stock, but we deal with a whole bunch of wholesale suppliers all across Canada and US that carry a variety of products. I know I want to dabble a little more into the Euro stuff, since now I drive a Golf R. I do have an EK hatch that's at home. Relax, everybody. I'm a JDM Euro guy right now. It's been kind of fun being in the Euro scene, because I've been in the JDM scene for 20 years. So getting to the Euro scene is something that's completely different. And I feel that I'm learning new things, which I love to do. And it's different. It's nice. I like the comfort and power and speed of a Euro, but the rawness of like an old Honda is, you can't compare.
Yeah, I mean, going from a JDM car to European, it is different. And, every customer we have, it's always something different. Not two cars are built the same. So, it's what makes this job fun is one customer is building it this way, then the next customer is building it that way, kind of thing. So it's always cool to hear everybody's, car builds, either European, Japanese, American muscle.
I got some quick fire questions. EK, EG. What are you taking?
EK hatch.
Okay. RSX, EP3.
RSX all day.
8th gen, 9th gen.
8th gen.
Ooh.
4-door.
10th gen or 11th gen?
Ooh, I would have to say the 11th gen.
Yeah, I like them too. And I had a 10th gen. Sorry, everybody. FK8 Type R or EK Type R?
EK.
Ooh, I like that. Been in business for 20 years now. You've seen many amazing customers, but you must have seen the opposite side. You must have seen the sketchiest, probably dangerous customers. Give me one example or one situation that happened in the past 20 years that you think about every once in a while.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Don't think I was gonna get asked that. Back when I was on Jane Street, I had a good customer come in with a used flywheel that needed a resurface plate.
Okay.
It came with.
What flywheel was it?
It was a Fidenza flywheel.
Are those the ones that have all the screws in the middle that you can take out?
Yeah, so you don't have to resurface it. You can just take off the plate and replace it.
Okay.
So I ordered one for him. He brought in his flywheel. While we're checking it, another customer walks in, and they're just walking around the showroom. And I told the customer, unfortunately, this piece doesn't fit the flywheel. I don't think that's a Fidenza flywheel. And I asked him who sold it to you, and he turned around, and believe it or not, the other customer that was in the showroom is the one that sold him the flywheel.
No way.
Yeah, and then they got into an argument, kind of fighting, exchanging numbers and stuff. But I don't know what happened after that. But that was what are the odds?
So it probably extremely heated to the point. Do you think at one point you may have to call the cops? Did it get that serious?
No, I mean it was getting a little bit heated, but the person told him I was gonna I can get your refund and all this kind of bullshit, but I don't know if it would ever happen. Probably, I don't think he ever did, but who knows. Now that since you've been here for about 5 years and you deal with a lot of customers, what's the one kind of thing that sticks into your mind?
Like same situation where like kind of sketchy.
Yeah, it's kind of sketchy, kind of, not your everyday
customer.
Good customer.
I have one customer that sticks out of my mind every once in a while. I think about it. We had a customer like walk in. He started walking in. He had his backpack in his front, like just holding it with it open and his hand inside the backpack like that. So it almost looked like he was holding something the entire time, but it was hidden. I couldn't see. But the way he was holding it looked like he was holding a gun or a weapon or something. But I assumed it may have been a gun. Just by the way he was moving with it. It was small, but he wouldn't take his hand out of that backpack, which kind of sketched me out. And I don't know if, like, obviously these guys don't know, I worked at a bank for 5 years too. So like, I've seen some sketchy things, and this set off all my radars. So he had his hand in the backpack, he's asking for tables, and we didn't have them. So I told him, sorry buddy, like I can get it, but I just don't have it in stock right now. We can get it like in a week. Like a reasonable time frame. And then he started losing his mind. He's like, why is it every time I come into places, people treat me like this? He's like, my buddy said you had him in stock. I'm like, well, I apologize. Like things move quickly sometimes. And he had his hand and he started getting up and like getting a little more aggressive with it. I think that was like like I've dealt with angry customers, we've all have, but that was the one time I thought that like my life may have been in danger. We're in an industry where it's not always the nicest customers that we deal with, right? Like not everyone who builds cars is a good person. And I don't know, maybe he was having a bad day. His hand never left that backpack. That sketched me out big time. And I don't know, I thought at that moment something was gonna happen, but he just turned around and left the store and he was all pissed off, swearing, saying every cuss word in the book, thinking that we're doing it just solely for him, but I didn't have it. So I gave him other options, but he didn't want other options. If someone wanted to start a business, maybe not so much even this business, but maybe a car shop like ours, what would be like, a couple of big main things you would advise them to do and maybe not to do?
One thing is giving tabs to customers or friends and stuff.
Never works out.
Yeah, just... they come in here one day and, they forget their wallet or whatever the case is. And, you message them a week or 2 weeks later and then they tell you, I totally forgot to pay you. And, then days, weeks go by more. And, when you start asking them for money, they kind of get frustrated and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of loses a friendship from that.
It ruins your friendship.
Yeah, just...
tabs are a big thing. Like we've noticed here.
Yeah, I mean, I would say also support anybody that it is starting a business, asking for discounts, asking for free products, that's not really supporting a business.
I think there's a stigma behind like having a small business. Like, if you have a small business, the person buying something thinks they should get a discount right away. When it should almost be the other way. You get like, the way I look at it, you're paying full price at Walmart, paying full price at Nike, paying full price for your Jordans and all that. Like, I don't mind giving discounts out, of course, right? Like it's part of the business we're in. It's just what we do. But I'm talking more like friends. Like some of your good friends just probably expect discounts.
They do, and then they expect to get free whatever, free stuff because they're supporting you. But if you look at it, asking for free merchandise, free hats, shirts, sweaters, that's not kind of supporting. I have friends who have businesses, restaurants, and whatnot. I will go in there and pay full price. I'm not there to, eat for free or eat for half price.
Of course.
And, I remember, seeing a post one time on Facebook, for small businesses where, somebody will go to a restaurant, pay $100 for a steak, eat half of the steak, and then
throw it away
and then give them a tip on top, is different than coming to a small business and asking them for a discount, which I don't think it's fair. I think everybody should support small businesses and, You know
what I think though is like when people walk in here, it's such a massive shop. You have so much parts on the wall and they assume that, we're living la vida loca.
Yeah.
What they don't know is the amount of like capital and money that's tied up on these walls compared to those smaller shops that doesn't have a lot, Those are the guys living La Vida Loca because the money they're making staying in their pockets and not putting inventory on the walls.
The thing is, we bring in pretty much every day. I'm not going to lie. Every day there's UPS,
Orders,
FedEx, Campar, you name it. They're here. They're skids. So, we try to do our best to bring in products as fast as we can. And, maybe sometimes the price is not as low as other places, but at the same time, we do have it in stock or we can get it within a week versus, 5-10% less, but you're waiting a month, 2 months for it.
And the thing that customers got to know about that, it's not like we're trying to charge you a premium to bring it in. We're not making more money by doing that.
Yeah.
If anything, we're spending more because we're expediting it instead of putting it on a skid where like your parts will divide the shipping with a bunch of other parts. So it's not like we're trying to ask for more money to make more money. If anything, we're spending more money to bring it in quicker. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to get the customer the parts as fast
for example,
as
if somebody orders, with Sibon, we have to do it in skids. So let's say 5 hoods minimum. If somebody orders a hood today and, it's been a while and they want their hood, fortunately we got to place an order for 5 hoods. So we got to keep 4 for stock and 1 for the customer, right? It's not always, the whole skid is sold. It's, maybe 10-20% of it's sold and the other 80 was stuck in inventory.
Yeah, because with the hood situation, I would love to bring in more carbon fiber, right?
Yep.
But like if I'm trying to bring it for one customer, they're going to pay like an additional like $500 for shipping a hood.
Customers have to understand it has to be in pallets and just divide the shipping and whatnot.
If the customer wants to pay the extra shipping,
I mean it's
up to you. The shipping money doesn't go in our pockets; it goes directly to the shippers that ship it. You're more than welcome to. I know we got a little bit off track here, but we kind of got a little deeper into the what not to do. But how about what to do? When starting a business, what is one piece of advice you would tell someone this is the thing you must do?
I would say, of course, have a website. From there, if you have Instagram, TikTok, all those kind of social media platforms, I would suggest getting on there. I mean, at the end of the day, you're looking at it's free advertisement, right? You're not paying for radio stations, you're not paying for ads on,
different times.
I mean, that stuff is free advertisement, so, I would put it to use.
I remember hearing your ads before I worked here on Z103.
Yeah.
I'm like, I used to hear it all the time, and maybe at the time that was a good way of advertising, but no offense, Z103, if you're watching this, like,
we're just trying to,
keep up.
Trying to keep up and trying to just get different customers that haven't never heard of us and whatnot. So just, it was just something different.
Like, I don't know if this is like pompous in any way. Like when a customer walks in, they're like, hey, I live in like Mississauga and I've never heard of you guys. It's pretty crazy, but I guess those are the customers that aren't on social media because, we try very hard to keep up to date with social media with new products, new photos, videes.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't have any social media platforms, tell us, how can we get our name out there? Is there ways, can we, sponsor, can we, run a local car show, have a booth set up at your shows or anything like that? Just
at the end of the day, the 2 points that we took away from this is negatives when starting a business, don't give tabs to people, right? And your friends should support you. And if all they're looking for is a deal, are they really your friend?
Yeah, that's not really supporting. If somebody comes up with a new shirt or anything like that, just, buy it. It's
not like
it's
they're
just
asking,
supporting.
I would understand if it's like $1,000 shirt and it's like I get it, but if the shirt's like $15, man.
Yeah, but like these shoe companies are not giving you free shoes because they have their name on their shoes. You know what I mean? You're still paying. You're still paying full pop or whatever it is. So, why not do that with a small business?
I feel like I'm doing an interview at this point. I'm just asking you questions. And these are answers I want to hear too. And I just got him on the hot seat today to actually answer them. Because if I was asked these questions, he'd probably walk away and go do work. So if I walked into the shop today and I had $5,000 in my pocket and I was building a car, what are some of the things, maybe let's be a little more specific because it definitely determines the car. Let's say I'm building an EK. Now, $5,000, it's bone stock. It is a D series. D as in David, not B as in Bob. D as in David. What am I doing to the car? Like, what do you recommend?
I would get a set of coilovers, an intake, headers, and exhaust. Just, something to give it a little bit more power. Obviously, case swap it, but
we don't have the budget for that.
Yeah, just to start off, I would definitely just do a set of coilovers.
Stock wheels? I guess it depends.
If they're nice OEM wheels, GSR wheels, something like that,
like
I would
or
keep
something.
it, yeah.
Okay, so let's say it's like a DX wheel, like an ugly 14-inch wheel. You have to choose a set of rims and a set of coilers. I need company names right now.
I would say K-Tune coilovers.
All right,
That's best-selling coils. But I mean, we sell super speeds. They have some nice 15-inch wheels on that, and you know they're Canadian-based as well. So I would say a set of super speeds.
You can't go wrong with that. I think, you know, for me, I would go with like some K-Tune K1s all day. And then for rim options, do I have a $5,000 budget for coilovers
5,000.
and wheels? I can probably, like, I don't know if you remember, but we can get work wheels. I would probably get, if I can get it, I got to see the price, but I would love to get some work wheels. I think they're called Work Emotion RS11s. They come in 15s, 16s, and I believe 17s. They're a newish wheel. I would definitely do the 16s on the EK. Add a tiny bit of camber, not much, like a track camber, settle down, guys. And
I'm sure that would bring you up already to the
5,000 mark. Yeah, I would just do coils and wheels.
Yeah.
My opinion, any car lowered, even on stock wheels, even if they're hubcaps, looks 10 times better.
What's one mod that you wouldn't do? You think it's kind of a waste of money? What's that one mod?
Can I be honest? I think a strut bar that is not fully steel and it's a hollow strut bar with no reinforcements on the inside is a waste of money. I'm a spoon fanboy, like throughout, but I think the spoon, this is a hot take, I think the spoon strut bar isn't the nicest. It looks cheap. And the worst thing is that it's not like they have their logo dead center or they have it in a way where you can see it and be like, I spent, you know, $400 on a strut bar. At least I can show it off a little bit, because when you pay for spoon, you are paying for the name at the same time. But it's just engraved in black and you can't even tell. Yeah. It looks like your generic, you know, strut bar. I'm the biggest spoon fanboy. I have spoon calipers, spoon steering wheel. I love all the spoon products. Spoon, don't get too upset with me about the strut bar. Maybe, my opinion, maybe they'll alter it a little bit. Yo, just give me a nice sticker down the middle of it. Let me know it's spoon, right? Like, I know everything else that they make is pretty highlighted. Like, when you see it, you know it's a spoon part. That's all I'm asking. Correct. Now, same question to you. What wouldn't you do?
I mean, throttle body spacers.
Yeah.
Some people think it's going to give you like some tornado
effect turbulence, and it's going to cause more horsepower. Maybe it'll give you one or two, but I think for the money you spend, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Are you more into a show car guy, or are you more into race car?
Personally, I would say race car. I have been to a couple car shows. I've parked there, sat there for 7-8 hours walking around looking at the same exact cars. Unless I think you're there with a group of friends and a group of people. To go alone to a car show, if you're trying to make friends, it might be a good idea. You can actually find some really good people there. But for me personally, I would build a track car. I like driving fast. I like taking corners hard. I like doing a mod on the car and driving it afterwards and feeling the difference of that. But I do love cosmetics at the same time. I think I'd have a nice looking track car, just not like a beat up rocket.
Yeah.
How about you? I already know the answer.
I would race car.
Well, is it? I thought you were going to say stance car.
Yeah, no. I mean, I started with the race car life, and you know, if you're doing all these mods to the car, of course, you want to see what it does. And yeah, I think for me, race car life over the show car.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say
I think the show car is more, you know, just to chill out, hang out, and stuff like that, versus race car where you're wrenching, racing back into the trailer.
A lot of like R&D type of stuff.
Correct.
And I'm going to take away, like, I think people who stance their cars and stay static and like are negative like 8+, and you guys can do that successfully. I think you guys, I give you credit, because that takes a lot of like back and forth, right? So I'm not going to take that away from them. When I got my EK at the time, it was stance at -8, and it drove really good for being -8. So, you know, whoever set that up, which was Justin from Dead and Gone, set that up. I think you did a good job. Would I keep it like that? It's not my style. I like being able to take, you know, corners fast and all that type of stuff. You have your RSX. It's been sitting in the garage for way too long. It is stanced. It is not moving. Can we find out if this is coming out this year? But they got to watch the next episode to find out what's happening with his DC5. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is our first podcast. I've never done one before. He hasn't either. We definitely have room for improvement. If you guys have any suggestions, ideas, people you want to see in the chair, let us know. This podcast will slowly evolve and get better and better and better. So if you guys are enjoying this, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I actually had a good time doing this. I've done a bunch of videos and stuff like that before, but I've never sat and had a conversation in this sense. So it's been really nice. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we wanted to bring up for a while. If customers have any questions they want to ask us, or anything they want to know, or like Chris said, who we should bring here, let us know. If there any shop owners, any manufacturers, anything like that. But I'm sure we're gonna have some surprise guests.
We'll have
here.
some interesting people. 110%. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next one.